Hello, I'm Ryan Lichten, co-host and co-founder of Culture Dumps. What you're about to see is probably the most monumental thing that we have ever done. We sat down on two separate occasions for a total of a little over 2 hours, I believe, with Vanessa Daisy De LaHoya, the star of Daisy of Love, the finalist from the second season of Rock of Love. This is amazing. Not just for you listeners of the show, but for me as well. Probably one of the world's biggest fans of her show. Specifically, not just like saying Celebrity, all those VH1 shows. I'm saying her show specifically I've been obsessed with. So what you're about to see are the videos of the Zoom calls that we had together. This is just going to be the interview portions. This isn't going to have the intros or anything. That's why I'm filming this for you. So this is just for Patreon subscribers, the video portion. The regular episodes, of course, will be on our main channel. But thank you so much for supporting us. This is huge, and I'd like to think this is a little bit of us trying to pay it forward and give back to y'all. So, with that all being said, enjoy the episode. Great. Yeah. So thank you so much for coming on the show today. This is huge. We've covered the era of reality shows that you were so prevalent during at length, but to actually speak to you is a huge deal for us here at Culture Dumps. Vanessa, how is life for you right now? Are you doing good?
Yeah, everything is fine. Everything is. I'm sorry. I'm kind of hot right now, so I'm just like I've like on way too many clothes. So, but
I
everything's good.
good. Now, you are like, so, one of the main reasons why I wanted to talk to you, besides, being such a fan of your show, watching it a million times, covering it, all that kind of stuff, was all this early 2000s style and attitude and all that is coming back into vogue in a big way. And I feel like it's partly due to the fact that like Rock of Love, Daisy of Love, all these shows are coming to the streamers and are being introduced to a whole new generation. Are you feeling that at all? That this kind of era is coming back?
I have really no idea. I guess so. I don't really pay attention much to kind of like what's going on, but I guess if it is, then that's awesome. So
Yeah.
thank you. I suppose. You
So,
know.
you're a really good person to ask this because, again, this stuff is coming back in the vogue, the styles, everything. I want to set the stage for you and have you describe it back to me. It's the early 2000s, okay? You're in Los Angeles. This is before you're on one of the shows. I'm assuming that, did you live in LA before you were on television?
No, actually, I lived in Colorado.
Oh, okay. And so did you like answer a like an ad? Like what got you onto the shows if you weren't in the hub of entertainment, as they call LA?
Yeah, well, I was born in California, so I had that already kind of going for me. That was always in my soul. And a lot of my family is already from California. So, I grew up in Colorado, and acting and music and the creative arts have always been something that I've been passionate about my entire life. And it's something that sort of is just within my nature. And so I've been pursuing that and working towards that my whole life. And I just, had enough one day, and I sort of went on my MySpace, and I found this, I was watching the show, the first season, and I was like a huge fan of, you know, the show. I thought it was hilarious, me and my ex-boyfriend.
Rock of Love is
And
what you're talking about, right?
yeah, Rock of Love. I was watching Rock of Love with my ex-boyfriend, and we had already known like Lacey kind of from a previous encounter musically. So we were like, "Oh, Lacey, that's so weird." And then of course we knew Poison, just because who doesn't know Poison
Of
if you're
course. I mean, I got the shirt on
music.
there. Yeah.
Oh, nice. And so we were like, "Oh, this is hilarious," and secretly I was like, "How do I get on this show?" Like, or something, because I was just like, something in my life has to like change, because I was really bad, hooked on drugs, and my ex-boyfriend at that time, and he we were really just quite, our relationship was over, but he actually didn't even know that I was on drugs.
Oh man, yeah.
Yeah, secretly I
That's
was
a
like,
rough spot to be in where you have to keep so
yeah,
much a secret. Yeah.
yeah, secretly I was like on just tons of cocaine, and he didn't even know it. Maybe he did, but he just didn't want to talk about it. He was kind of like that sometimes, I guess. Anyway, so I like went on there, and I went on the MySpace, and I looked up the casting director, and because I was getting good at that, from like my acting class, I sort of just like started to just be proactive, and I found the casting director, and I sent him a message on MySpace,
Wow.
and I know, and he messaged back, and he said, well, you kind of have like something going on because you already did music a little bit with his band, and he said send in a videotape and we'll see. And I said, okay. I sent in a videotape and I made like a little song. I made up a stupid song and they liked it. And then like they're like, well, we already done, we've already cast it, but we'll go ahead and like let you in last minute because your song was so stupid. Like
Do you remember the song at all?
something must be really dumb about you, and we kind of like, we like you. So I was like, oh my God, like right on. And my ex-boyfriend was really supportive, because he cared about me, he was supportive. And we hated our life. We didn't really hate our life, but we hated we didn't want to live normal lives.
I hear
You know,
that. Yeah.
we were like, we don't want to get, we don't want to live these stupid lives anymore. Like so he was just probably like, God, just anything happen. If it's not gonna happen for me, I hope it happens for you.
That's nice. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. It was kind of like, if it doesn't happen for me, I hope it happens for you. You know,
Right.
vice versa. It's like, stop. It's gonna happen for one of us because this
Now,
sucks.
now, can I
You know,
ask? Is this is like a kind of a mega fan question? But the ex boyfriend that you're talking about, was he the one that was invited to the house on that season of
yeah,
Rock of Love?
yeah. Mr. Charles Edward. He from Shock. Yeah, that was him.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to keep it. I want the vision in my head. So that's so crazy, and I am gonna get back to how you got like what it was like getting there. But you keep bringing up MySpace, and that's actually on my list of things I wanted to talk to you about because it's really hard for me because I was a freshman in high school when MySpace came out. So by the time I was in 10th grade, it was the biggest thing on the planet. You had it all decked out, the whole deal. To someone that wasn't around during that time, how big was MySpace to like counterculture and just like alternative stuff? Like how big of a deal was MySpace in your life at that time?
Well, when I first found out about MySpace, I was in my early 20s, and it was like the biggest thing I've ever seen in my life. And by the time I found out about it, it was already, people were already mega stars on it.
Yeah,
And I was
yeah,
like, how did this happen? Tila Tequila,
sure.
um,
Jeffree Star was another one, big
yeah,
one.
before that, but I mean, somehow before I found out about it, everyone was already a mega big star on it. So I was
Who
just
was
like,
that
how did
one? You might remember this. That one girl, Forbidden. She was another
yeah,
big one.
and
Yeah,
that's really tragic because she died
right. Yeah,
kind of a
unfortunately.
alcohol overdose, and that sucks because I
Wow.
think I'm sober, so I that was really tragic.
Yeah, well, Tila
She
Tequila kind of had a fall from grace as well. We did an episode on her, and she kind of went off the rails a little bit with some of that stuff. But I
yeah,
mean, but there were stars right on MySpace. It was
yeah,
crazy.
and I was like, how do I get to be a star on MySpace for Christ's sakes? And so that's kind of like where that and I was just like, so I was like, dude, I gotta like, and this was like the one and only thing. Now it's like you have to have a Twitter, a MySpace, we have your MySpace now, a this, a that, and I'm just like, it was already like stressful enough for me when I had the MySpace, where it was like, okay, now you gotta update this and you gotta update that, and now you gotta have this and the music and everything. And just when I thought like my MySpace was like cool, then something cool would like have to come up and you have to like update it again, and I would just be like so stressful. But I got it down and it was fun, and I was still like, oh, I got like 100 friends.
Yeah.
It's like oh, I got like 200 friends, and it was like
Oh, the
really
top
fun.
8 was a big deal.
Yeah, top 8. Oh my God, that was so. I remember when I was like, like Dave Navarro like put me in his top 8, and I was like,
Oh, that's a big deal. I know him. Yeah, from my days working at the
yeah,
Museum of Death.
I felt
Yeah,
like so special that was like for like one day, and then
yeah.
I was like
See, people
so
don't get it. Like they don't get it now because like social media, I feel like has become so much less personal. Like, yeah, you're putting yourself out there, but you don't have the like camaraderie that MySpace gave you, where you're like putting your personality as like Instagram is gonna start letting you put songs on your profile, which is a
it
big
was like
deal.
decorating your like Valentine's Day box. You remember like your Valentine's
Yeah.
yeah. Like it was really personalized, and you worked really hard for that thing.
And
You know,
I feel
like
like, I
just
mean, coming back to what, like how you came to be known to like this huge public audience, or it really does have its roots in MySpace and MySpace culture. And I feel like there was, like rock and roll with like that was like the last 10 years, the early 2000s, last 10 years when rock and roll was like the sickest shit still, and then that changed.
so I owed all to Tom on MySpace. Thank you, Tom on MySpace. I love you.
So you send one of the casting people a message, they get it, you send them a song. Do you remember any of that song at all?
I remember that it was called Rock and Roll Monkey.
Hell yeah.
And like I made it up like right then and there on the spot because I'm really good at just like making up songs on the spot. I didn't know how to play the any chords yet because I was still just learning like about music structure on guitar. So I can, make up a song like all day long as far as like lyrics. I was just like something like I'm gonna be your rock and roll monkey or something like
Because
all day long. Wanna be your girl, something. That's I wrote you this song or something.
I love
Some,
it.
like, stupid-
You know what?
yeah,
I would cast you just on that alone. And also, I mean, it is funny that it was Rock and Roll Monkey because one of the catchphrases that Bret Michaels would always say was, "We're gonna have crazy monkey sex." Not that that influenced the song at all, but it is just an interesting connection. So, so you get the call. So what? You leave Colorado then, and you come out to LA, or how
yep.
what's the next step?
So then I had to fill out all this paperwork. I remember there was like another process I think where I had to drive down. I don't know. I like it's kind of blurring out. Like where I drove down to like this, I think like another place where they evaluated me,
Like
and
psychologically?
yeah, they had to psychologically evaluate you to make sure that you weren't like that you were crazy, but you weren't like too crazy.
Interesting because I was gonna like to not to skip ahead too much, but just to kill two birds with one stone here. I mean, the kind of shows that you were on ended with a terrible
Yeah,
tragedy, and
yeah,
now the psychological evaluations are way more tight on shows, but not from VH1 because they don't do these anymore because of that. And I'm sure you know what I'm referencing.
yeah,
Yeah,
100%.
yeah. I mean,
Yeah, well,
when you heard about that,
that was the thing. You actually did have to be evaluated by a therapist. You had to do like all this psychological evaluation. They actually put you like on a 3-day hold in the hotel to evaluate you. And if
really,
you were a little bit too crazy, they wouldn't yeah, they did screen you.
that's
And
wild.
they wouldn't let you if you were a little bit too off your rocker, they wouldn't let you like be on the show.
I gotta say, it seems like that margin was very small because some of the contestants on some of these shows, I don't know how they made it past.
No, well, to be honest with you, it actually really is a really bad psychological mind boo boo or whatever. It does it's a place where if you don't have like a good strong mind, it can really actually start messing with your mind and do psychological damage to your mind
Sure.
because
Now,
it's a
yeah.
weird experience and it can actually last like for a while. It's a bizarre thing, that world. Not for everybody, obviously.
Sure.
So
Yeah. No, that's so. I now, I mean, we're on on a good path here, and I'll come back to the super fun stuff. But since we're on this topic, I've heard from other researchers and even myself doing research on Rock of Love, Flavor of Love, all those of love shows, the whole celebrity world on VH1, that the rules and were very strict for the cast members. And as far as what you guys were allowed to do, what you weren't allowed to do, I've heard it's kind of like kind of gnarly. I mean, can you talk about any of the rules that you guys had to follow as cast members?
yeah, of course you couldn't have cell phones. You couldn't you couldn't talk about the show afterwards, of course, because you have to sign contracts and make sure that you're, not jeopardizing the production, of course, because it is a television show, and they put millions of dollars into something because it's entertainment at the end of the day. You can't, obviously you weren't allowed drugs. That was obviously not something that you could
But
do. Things
how?
were
But did people follow that rule?
Oh yeah, absolutely. You can't have drugs on a shit TV show. No, absolutely not. If you had to take medication, of course you can take that, but you can't have drugs on a TV show. If you have drugs, they would kick you out, of course, 100%.
Right. Well, the reason why I asked that is, oh, okay, no, continue. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Yeah, no, you 100% cannot have drugs on a television set. This is not on any other set. I have no idea, but on a reality TV show, no, absolutely not. If they found you with drugs, you kicked out.
And that's interesting to me because it seemed like on Rock of Love and even on your show, Daisy of Love, that alcohol was so readily available.
No, alcohol is different. Of course, you can have alcohol. Alcohol is legal, and alcohol is a legal, free flowing thing. We signed an amendment for that. Remember?
Right.
That's the thing that we absolutely enjoy.
But did you ever feel like that was kind of presented in a way or made available in a way to fuel the fire?
Of course, because that's a legal thing. Obviously, as you know, it's legal. So obviously, no one under the age of 21 cannot be on there. It keeps things interesting. Obviously, and it's legal again, like I said. And of course, it's provided. It's an incentive. And each to their own. There's nothing illegal about it, and it makes for great TV.
Yeah.
So therefore, but anything that's an illegal substance, absolutely not.
Right. Now, I mean, just to ask you some inside baseball kind of stuff. I mean, was there again your experience? Did you see any other girls or any of the guys with that stuff?
No, if that happens, you would be absolutely kicked out 100%. That's a law. No, absolutely not. You sign a contract and you would be out.
Right. Right.
Definitely.
Right.
There's no doubt about it.
You heard it here first, folks. There was no drugs. Yeah.
No way. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. That's not they would the production company would lose their license, everyone. There would be no one's worth that, trust
me. Right.
Yeah, nobody wants to lose their license to film or to like have a production, like no way.
Especially with those shows.
Commercials, advertisements. Nobody's gonna work with them ever again. Are you kidding me? No way. Right. One person is not worth that, trust me.
Right. And especially
you're a no-name nobody that nobody gives a crap about.
Right. Which is what those shows are kind of made of. Yeah.
I'm talking about Tide commercials, not gonna be like, oh, just let her have it. No, they're gonna be like, absolutely not. Fire that skank. Get them out of there. No way. Like, they don't care.
So going back to what you were saying about how being on some of these shows leaves a lasting scar in some cases with some people, no, of course,
it doesn't. It affects everybody differently. It's not for everyone. Some people deal. Everybody deals with everything different. Some people are meant to be can handle it, and some people can't.
Right. And do you feel like the huge communications restrictions that you guys were given, and like, did that play into that for some people where they felt so isolated, or what?
That's the way it has to be. That's what you signed up for, and you're free to walk out the door anytime you want.
Yeah.
Nobody's holding a gun to your head. They would want to say no. We'll try to give say, hey, come on, let's try to, we like you, or, you're okay, everything's gonna be okay. But if somebody says, hey, I don't want to do this anymore, they want to throw on the towel, then a producer will say, you know what, okay, then you're free to go. But the rules are you can't do this because it jeopardizes production. Right. It gets you out of like what we're doing. At the end of the day, we're filming. There's work to be done. You're filming a piece of television show and then look what happened. It became iconic, right?
Oh, absolutely.
But if you're sitting there talking to your grandma about fucking COVID or something, or cornflakes that she didn't buy yesterday, then what kind of piece of material are you gonna have? You're not gonna have anything. Or you're telling your grandma about what's happening, you're ruining it.
Right.
So you gotta have some type of restriction going on to keep people's mind in what's happening. As ridiculous as it sounds, there has to be some type of structure of what the heck is going on, even in Mindless Pointless, which is what their company's name is, Mindless Entertainment. You have to have something going on. Like you can't just
Right.
have like people just be like, so hold on, I gotta text my grandma about my sock in the dryer, like or something. You
Now,
gotta like keep it focused.
when you were there, I mean, at any point did you feel like you were a cog in their machine, or was the eye on the prize really Bret Michaels? I mean, at what point does the idea of wanting to win this guy's love compete with what the production crews are telling you guys to do? And also, I mean, you could lay it into this. It was about how many people on that cast, which is a huge number of gals, especially from the start of the season. How many of them are really there for that guy? And what's put together by the crew?
Um, you know, that is not something I can really answer directly in such a way because I don't know what anyone's there for. That's their prerogative.
Fair.
I I don't know, I was there at some point I was just there. I was just like, like what the F is going on? You get lost in the moment. So you're just like there, if you're actually like in the moment, you're like there, you're just like just you forget about the cameras. The producers really don't tell you what to do. You don't
Interesting.
they don't have to. They just say like, here's what's gonna go on today. Do that. You're gonna go out and ride on a tricycle today or whatever. And then that's what you're gonna do. Whatever
Yeah.
comes about the day, that's just how life is. Life is gonna be life. And is there a goal in mind? Well, we all know what we're there to, why we're there. We're there because Bret Michaels was looking for a girlfriend.
Yeah.
Do you want to date a rock star? Yeah, that sounds nice. I like rock and roll and I want to be a rock star and I want to date a rock star. It doesn't sound something that's like bad to me.
Right.
I'm
Did
just
you
having
ever did you ever feel like because you had like interest in singing and performing and you had this career that was budding, did you ever feel like that worked against you in the public eye or in the eye of the crew because they're, oh, she's just here to make a name for herself versus, oh no, she's down to date Bret Michaels?
Yeah, of course. And in that moment, it was petrifying. I was like, oh no, don't let anybody know that that's what you do because that would be like the most awful thing. But now I think about it, I'm like, who cares? Like, duh. Like, like I mean, I don't know what kind of woman Bret Michaels does he want to date? Susie Homemaker? Does he want to date a playmate? Does he want to date someone who's in the industry? I don't know, but is it bad that somebody has aspirations? I hope not.
Right. Right. Yeah,
You
no,
know,
true. Fair enough. Absolutely. And that's the kind of stuff that I feel like people are so curious because again, when it was on TV, it was just being, fed to people, but now that it's on these streamers and it's a new generation looking at it with however many years in between of cultural reference, that those are the questions they're asking when they watch these shows, you
yeah, and
know.
like, do I want to date Bret Michaels solely because I want him to make me famous? Like, no. That's kind of messed up. Yeah, that's true. That's kind of, but like, that I think was the more of the thing that was like the thing that like, okay, that's where I don't want people to get the wrong impression.
Yeah, right,
And
right.
and so that, is definitely the feeling. Cause like, yeah, if you don't really love someone and like you just want to use them, but then again, it's Hollywood.
Yeah, come on.
But I and so a part of me, yeah, didn't really vibe with him actually, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, did you ever feel like you said, like it's Hollywood? Like, did you ever feel like at some point, like, oh shit, we're the ones being taken advantage of in this situation and
Yeah,
being
but
exploited,
but but no, I didn't feel like he vibed with me, and I didn't feel like I vibed with him either. So it was, but I was already gonna, my life, I wasn't dependent upon Bret Michaels though.
Right.
Like my life was already planned like the way that I wanted it from the day that I was born. That's the way that I wanted my life. It
Sure.
just happened to be that like that was the hand that God dealt me. God was
Yeah.
like, okay, this is what you're gonna get since you wanted your this is what you wanted, so here's what you're gonna get.
Your version of it. Yeah.
Yeah, like Bret Michaels told God, God told Bret Michaels, this is what you're gonna get, this is what you're gonna get. Like that's the path that they got, and this is the path that I got. And I have to be grateful for it. This isn't quite what I imagined it. I'm not Elizabeth Taylor, but like, it's good enough for me because that's what I wanted in my soul, genuinely. And
Yeah.
this is what I got, and I can't, and I have to just be grateful for it. It's better than nothing, and it's genuinely what I wanted in my life. It's not something that I I want it afterwards. It's something that I've worked for in my life, maybe not as hard and as other people, and maybe I'm not as talented as other people, but it's something I genuinely wanted in my life, in my soul, since I was a babe.
Well, I'll tell you right now, Vanessa, on Culture Dumps, you are our Elizabeth Taylor. You absolutely are. No, that you are Marilyn Monroe. You are
Oh
fucking
my
yeah. No, I like, and our queen on this show is Anna Nicole Smith, and I would say
God, I love
that in a
her.
lot of ways, you're like, I wouldn't even put you in the same basket as her. Yeah, you're in the upper echelon of Culture Dumps world, so you have that to rest on.
Well,
Now,
she's
now before we move on to, because and I'm trying to burn through this quick because I don't want to take too much of your time, but a lot of the girls on Rock of Love, they they have your cat fights, you have your arguments, that kind of thing. But what was worse? Was it the arguments off camera or the arguments that we saw? Like was the drama behind the scenes worse? Or like I can't imagine.
I don't know. I mean, well, I mean, on the camera, like when the camera isn't rolling, nothing's really happening. It's when the camera's rolling that's when they want you to like. That's when the good stuff's happening. I
Right.
don't know. They're the same. They're the same because when you see in the camera, that's when the stuff is. I mean, it's all the same.
Interesting. Interesting. Now, the last question I have about Rock of Love and your experience there is, how dirty did that house get? Because I picture like a bunch of party girls, not everyone, but a lot, as we've seen on camera, what we've been shown. I'm sure everyone has all their best outfits. How crazy, like, what's the mess like? What are the bathrooms like on Rock of Love?
I never thought of that actually. I don't even know who cleaned the bathroom. I never know. I never thought about who cleaned up. Remember, like a ghost just came in the middle of the night and magically it was clean again. I don't know. It's a good
Wow.
question. I did get pretty dirty. We were yeah, I don't know. Whoever did that, thank you for cleaning up. I don't recall. Man, that was nice of them.
So you would,
God,
so things would be shitty. Like you guys would get ready for a challenge or something, or whatever it was, and then and then everything's miraculously cleaned up.
what spoiled brats we were. We were just like, yeah, we really were. We were just like, what?
Oh
Um,
my god.
I don't remember, but we definitely weren't like, just like, we were living it up, obviously. So I don't remember. And then all of a sudden it was like, Judamus again.
Right. That's really funny. It's like being in a hotel. Like you just leave your room, and when you come back, it's nice.
Yeah, and I don't know who was cleaning up, so I don't know. Thank you to them though. Whoever did that, thank you. That was really
Oh,
nice of you.
that's gonna be my next interview, is the guy that had to clean up after all
Yeah.
you guys. So now your season ends. You finished in second, not to put it in a first, second, third kind of sense, but really, I mean, that's how most people watching these shows look at it. You were one of the final girls. Obviously, he picked the wrong choice, in my opinion. I mean, how could anyone not pick Daisy?
But if he picked me, like his life would be miserable as F. I bet, I guarantee you. Even as all like the last three relationships, you'd be like, dude, trust me. Like you would have yeah, look at her now. Like yeah, you
Yeah.
definitely made a good choice, bro.
Oh well, I like, it didn't last long because there was a season three. So,
Well,
um,
yeah, but still, look, 3 seasons later, I'm still miserably awful. Like
oh
they're like, that's a good choice you made, Brett.
yeah, whatever. He sells scented candles now. So another thing I want.
Candle. That's
So
nice.
now there is a little bit of a period. Oh, go ahead.
I want a scented candle. What are the names of them?
Oh, I think they're named after his daughters,
Every
and
candle has wax.
yeah.
Every candle has its wax.
Yeah, they all come with a bandana wrapped around the top to cover up what's not on the top of the band of the candle. But anyways, so now there's a little bit of a period in between Rock of Love and your next shows, right? So what's your life like after you get off Rock of Love, before you do I Love Money, and then before your show? Like how long of a period is that? Are you living the fast life? What's going on there?
Yeah, it was pretty fast. It got pretty fast, really cool, like really quickly. I moved immediately to California. I was like, this is it, yay, to go back to Colorado, tell my ex, hey, I'm so sorry, but this is it now. I'm ready to to go into California. He was like, all right, makes sense. And he actually helped pack all my stuff up. my little like I had like a Toyota GT Celica, like red. It was so cute. And he packed all my stuff up that I had. Got a apartment with my roommate, with a roommate named Rochelle. Somebody's like smoking marijuana, and I'm about to have like a anxiety attack right
Oh,
now.
if you need to move, it's okay.
Ah! I'm like literally about to have a panic attack. Like, I'm
No, I
sorry.
got you. Hey, and if you need to move or find
I'm
another
fine.
place, we can continue.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I'm like
Uh,
at the library and they're like smoking marijuana.
oh my
Um,
God.
I know it's not because I'm such a
What
because
book are they getting?
I'm super straight edge. I know they're getting like the super magical bus, the magic bus tour or something. Um, anyways though, so I'm going so my this roommate that I had, her name was Rochelle, and she got us the best apartment, my best first apartment in right by the Beverly Center
Oh
in
wow.
yeah, it was so cute. Thank you, Rochelle. I missed her. And we were like little identical twins. And it didn't work out with me and Rochelle. We got in a big fight. And I ended up just going straight immediately to right across from the Grove. And how cool is that? You get right into a freaking, not even having to struggle. I was so blessed.
Yeah.
So didn't
So
even have to struggle.
yeah.
My first very first I literally moved right directly into a posh cute little place right across from the Beverly Center. That day I do a show on Dave Navarro's podcast, television show, and go out on a date with Dave Navarro and like at Katsuya, and that's how I rolled into California.
Wow.
Pretty hot.
Now,
And paparazzi were like shooting us, and then the management company was like really upset at me. They're like, "You can't go out and take a photo," like blah, blah, blah. And they're like, and then I was like, "Why?" And like they're like, "Because you're supposed to be doing a television show, and you're not allowed to date or see people."
oh right,
Because
because that was right before the Rock of Love came out then.
no, it was right before Daisy of Love, because
Oh, okay.
yeah, and before they were gonna decide that they wanted me to do Daisy of Love, and they said no, you're not allowed to like date other people. And I said, and Dave Navarro was like, oh. And then he was like, okay, well, I guess we can't date anymore. And he's like, bye. And I was like, bye.
Damn. Well, now this is a great place for me to bring it back to what I wanted to first talk to you about. So now, you went out on a date with Dave Navarro, you guys had a fling, what have you, but now it's kind of your era. It's I just want to set the stage for folks. It's right in between Rock of Love and Daisy of Love. It's the early 2000s, mid to late, like before 2010. You're going out with your girls. Okay. What are you listening to? Where are you going? And what are you wearing?
We're definitely listening to, a lot of still like Molly Crew and stuff. I was definitely still in the Molly Crew, Guns N' Roses. I liked a lot of like uh M80, a lot of, God, I don't even remember.
No, it's fine. I
Uh,
mean, yeah, I mean, Molly
yeah,
Crew checks out. Guns N' Roses checks out for sure.
yeah,
M83, is that what you're talking about?
really into that stuff. M83, sorry. Just God, help me out here. Can't even remember. Um,
Well, I'm just, I mean, I'm wondering, just because I
it
feel
was
like
the
the
80s music was really big back in the 2000s. We were really into the 80s music back then.
right.
Back then, and
And
but now I'm like, super into the 90s music. I'm like all now I can't even stand the 80s music. I'm like, bleh. But it was all about the 80s music then.
and then like what's like a go-to accessory for a rock and roll gal
Oh,
on the town?
like belts, tons of belts, the skirts, the leg warmers. I was all about my leg warmers. Tons of my bracelets, obviously, tons of bracelets. Um, I loved my mini skirts. Um, I had my bra and my cut off like mini shirt. My bra always had to be out with my mini shirt with my cut off shirt.
Right.
Like the extra with the bra like in the mini, because I would always show my stomach, like that was like stomach was always out because I had the like I couldn't, like there was one point I remember looking in the mirror to myself. I'm thinking to myself, God, I can't even imagine my stomach being fat. Like, and then like a year ago, I was like, there it is. Now I can imagine it.
Oh,
Like,
please.
I'm
Yeah.
like, now I was like, now I can imagine it. There it is. But like, God, I remember like thinking to myself, I remember like pushing it out, like, come on, just be fat. And then I was like, there it is. there's the imagination right there, bitch. I was
Yeah.
like, you need to do push-ups, sit-ups and stuff. I was like, get on that.
And
Yeah.
then where's the destination for a night
Oh,
out with your sideways belt on now? Your tummy's
yeah, like
out.
yeah, I always had the belt kind of like on side. I used to have like the like guns on it or something. I would always put it like kind of sideways, and like the bullet belts.
Yeah,
Um, yeah, the bullet belts, tons of like two belts at least. Um, clip. Oh, I still wanted a hair clip. I kind of put one hair clip in. I'm not much ashamed. I don't know. God damn. My hair's all short. Oh, the extension clip had to be showing. The extension always had to be showing.
interesting.
Yeah. And even if I worked really hard for like like an hour or so, it always had to be showing at least one back there showing. Because I have a
That's
calic.
so funny.
Because I have a calic, so it's like I have like I have like calic here and a calic there. So like like no matter how hard I worked on it, like it's not showing. And then in a picture, I'm like, God damn it, it's showing there.
Yeah.
So yeah, that one always showing like right there. Uh okay, and so and the lashes, big lashes. Gosh, and the destination was Ladue nightclub. That was always our destination. That I went to Ladue, and that's what I always would go to Ladue with my best friend DJ because he would always just give me the clubs,
Right.
and uh that's all I ever went to because the only club I can get into.
Even after being on TV?
I can't even remember the clubs now because it was like so long ago. It was like 10 years ago.
Yeah. And you know what's funny? It's like the Sunset Strip, like as much as it's romanticized, it's like it's still the same places. It just gets lamer and lamer the longer it exists.
Yeah, I would go to sometimes I would go to obviously the the rainbow
Yeah, sure. The
like
rainbow.
rainbow. But that was after I stopped going to like the main clubs. Then I would go to the rainbow. The destination would obviously be like somebody where whoever had the drugs. But I don't do drugs anymore, obviously. So
Very good.
um and just you know yeah, but I didn't really go to clubs a lot because I was too busy on a plane going to the destination all over the country to the clubs all over the country.
Wow, really? Like just to
So
hang out, or were these paid appearances?
yeah, I was doing appearances a lot. So I was hardly ever at a club, the nightclub. So, there was STK, there was, all those clubs in LA that you would go to that were really cool. But I was rarely there to do it because I was too busy flying around the country, going to all the amazing clubs and appearances all over, the country.
Sure.
With
Like when
with
I moved out to Hollywood, it was a Cinespace. That was the big one.
their
You-
Space, yeah, that I remember that one. And so I was doing all that. I was doing clubs all around the appearances, and so that I was working a lot, and I got really exhausted. I got like so exhausted. I was just constantly on a plane, and that's when me and my roommate got in a fight because she was like one day she was like up and she was like partying, and I like partied. I had to like party practically because I was so tired, and I like missed my flight and I was so exhausted, and like she was like up like giggling, and I got in a fight with her and I choked her. I was like, I hate you. I was like, shut up.
oh my God.
And she was like so angry because like she was like off of Dana White or something. I'm like, and she was like angry. She was like angry because like I was doing things that she wanted to do, but like she was doing things that I wanted to kind of do, but I was just like it was like a weird like thing. And then I was like, I'm moving out.
Yeah.
That's when I moved by myself. I was just like, I can't deal with
Now,
she.
I do want to we're gonna keep tracking down this career path, but on an average appearance that you would do, well, but on an average appearance that you would be hired to do at like a nightclub, like in some other state, what would that entail? Like, what was expected of you?
It was like the most amazing thing I was, gifted and granted to do. The people that brought me to their venues were so cool, so nice, so generous, so loving, caring, respectful. They would like take me to dinner. They would give me little gifts. They would take me on to they would, promote me on their radios, make sure my flyers that I loved, they would hook me up with all kinds of things. They would make sure that I was just happy. They would just want me to have a good time. That's what they would expect me to do. They just
Wow.
wanted me to have a good time, and
That
I did.
that
I
sounds
had a really
amazing.
yeah. They just wanted me to be happy, and they were just happy that I was there, and and I was just like just just like wow, that I was just grateful and blessed the whole entire time. And I
Right.
just wanted to make sure that they were happy. My main goals was that I was their professional in their standard, and that I made them happy, and that they felt that whatever they got their money was worth, and that they felt good, because that's what I wanted for them,
Right.
and,
Get to,
and
yeah,
that I didn't let them down, because that's a lot of hospitality that they would bring to me, because a lot of it was
absolutely.
on the coast, and they were just so rad and so like they were just so amazing. And I'm just like, all this for me? Like,
Yeah.
why? You know, I'm like, you guys, this is like it's like a birthday and Christmas and like my birth or something every day that I would do this.
Wow.
Yeah,
God,
they were
that
so amazing. They would
so
just
then
go out, they would just go above and beyond.
that's
Crazy.
amazing. Just to have Daisy from Rock of Love season 2 there. Like, you know what I mean? It's like so
It
that
was a lot. It was just like the best moments of my life. I was honoredly. I'm gonna cry.
oh, Vanessa.
They would just go like so far for me. Like it was just beautiful.
That's amazing. I love that. So then when does I because if I'm not mistaken, I Love Money is the next time you're on television.
Yeah, I was on I Love Money, but I wasn't on on the show. I
Right.
did their interviewing and did like interviewed the cast and stuff.
Did you enjoy that? I mean, or would you have rather
Yeah.
been a cast member?
I'd rather do whatever anyone wanted me to do. I just enjoy being doing stuff. It was great. That was the day that I brought home um bed bugs afterwards.
What?
Yeah, I brought bed bugs back from Mexico. I was so tired. I like went when I was in the Guadalajara airport. I was like so exhausted. I just had to lay down, so I laid down in the airport. I was like, oh, and then I remember like something biting me, and I was like, ow, like, and then I was like, got home, and I was like, man, I can't stop itching myself, and I was like, why did I can't stop itching? I was like, I'm going crazy. What's going on? And then I was like telling my publicist, I was like, Cass,
Oh,
something.
all right. Where we left off, you were sleeping on the floor of the Guadalajara airport and you got bed bugs.
Yes, yeah. I was sleeping. I laid down to take a little nap, for like 2 seconds, and then a little bed bug hopped on my UGG, and that's when I know UGGs are not vegan, so that was my bad then. And so I needed like a little rest, and then after I came home, I guess they traveled with me. They were my friend, and so I had to fumigate my whole entire apartment, and then after that everything was fine.
So, how quickly from you doing the I Love Money spot into Daisy of Love? I mean, like besides this little speed bump with the bugs, I mean, like how quickly was that production break?
It was like a I don't remember, to be honest with you. Maybe like a month or so, or yeah, because we didn't start filming that until after the holidays.
Right. So, I mean, when there was there any hint, like when you were on Rock of Love, was there any hint that you would have your own show, or how did when did you find out that that was even a thing?
Um, Look, I feel like you're giving away all the secrets.
Oh, well, you don't have to say anything you don't want to, but I mean, these are
No, but I didn't. I was actually in Colorado after we were done filming. I was told I was going to be on Charm School,
Oh, okay.
and that's what I thought I was going to do. And Lord knows I need it.
That show is fucking crazy. Like that is just like a pure whirlwind of chaos. Charm School was.
Yeah,
You know what though? I mean, you had a pretty
I've never
crazy.
actually seen it. I've never seen it before, actually.
Oh wow, yeah. It's there's apple throwing and
Oh, really?
all kinds of crazy stuff that goes on there. Um, but so you like the unique thing about Daisy of Love was that you kind of had a confidant the whole time, much like how Brett Michaels had, Rob or whatever, or Big John, you had Ricky Rackman of
Yeah.
Headbangers Ball. I mean, did you guys know each other before?
No, I never met Ricky Rackman. Oh, I met him on the day that I did the reunion show, and he saved my life. The day that Heather Chadwell was trying to kill me.
Oh yeah.
He literally actually saved my life from being hold on just a second. I'm so sorry. Let me just use my little nifty
Perfect.
there you go. Is that
Yeah, no, yeah, it's great.
so the day that the reunion show happened, um Heather Chadwell was trying to kill me. Kill me. You know, because I was wearing these god awful stiletto like cheap stripper heels that I thought were like the coolest thing ever because I'm 5'3", so I wanted to be like 5'8".
Right.
And I loved that. That was when I was like really self-conscious about my height. Now I wear flat like and I really embrace my height now. Before then I was I could not stand to wear flats at all. I couldn't even walk in flats. I felt like a duck. Um, so I wore these like giant, like the hill was like this big, and we were on a platform stage that was I think like 3 feet off the ground, and she like attacked me. We all some of us have seen it. If
Right.
not, if you're not familiar with it, that's it's
I'm pretty
fine.
sure everyone listening to this episode has seen it for sure.
Well, so that situation was scary and I almost fell. She pushed me and I literally was 2 seconds from falling off the stage because of my platform giant Sugar Hill shoes. But Mr. Ricky Rackman was there and like you could see him like laughing. But like if it wasn't for him there in my spiffy little cat reflex, not reflexes, reflex. I grabbed onto him and I was about to die off the stage, and I freaked out because I was like, if he would have not been there just in time, and my quick like, I could have like broke my neck.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I mean that could have been a whole thing. Now, well, like I'm this
I was
kind of a.
really upset.
Oh, I'm sure. I mean, was there any kind of legal stuff that went on after
I was
that?
upset because I said, I heard a rumor that she was gonna try to attack me, and a lot of people were like, "Oh, you're getting your own. She's getting her own show because she's gonna sue or something." But I was like, "No, that's not. I don't know. I don't know why they decided to want to. That was not the reason. But I was just like, that had nothing to do with whatever. I was very upset because that was put me in. I don't like to fight. I really don't. It's not.
Yeah,
But I also like to stand up for myself,
sure.
and
Yeah.
that's my Achilles heel because it's almost like being you're when you're hungry and your eyes are a lot bigger than your stomach because I grew up having to always you know protect myself because people always wanted to pick on me,
Hmm.
and I was always taught to so I had to I was always getting beat up, but I always stood up for myself, always. So even though and there were times when I was occasionally when I was like in kindergarten stuff I was occasionally the bully, for various reasons. But then I stopped that and I became the person who was then got the other side of the end of the stick, and I became, the person who got picked on. But I was always like, you damned if I was gonna be, you know, stepped on. I stood up for myself no matter what. No matter if you
Yeah.
were, older than me, bigger than me. I was like, I don't care, I'm gonna fight you still. And I got beat up.
Right,
There were
right.
times when I got beat up, I got punched, kicked, laughed at. Everyone was like, "Oh," and I was like, I don't care. I'm still gonna, stand up for myself.
Right.
I'm
And I
not
mean,
going down. I'm not going down without a fight. But like, it taught me some lessons. But I was still, I cried, went home, and my stepdad was, trying to teach me some karate moves and just like, but I was always taught to stand up for yourself.
Right.
And that could be a good thing and it could be a bad thing.
Yeah, sure. I mean, yeah, because that was a completely unprovoked, thing that happened there. Also, it's interesting that you said that people were saying that, oh, you got a show because you were going to sue or whatever, and that was like a rumor kind of flying around. It's interesting, like even when you get your own TV show, like you've come like so far, the bullying never stops. Like, right, like there's always someone out there to like push other people down, you know what I mean, like no matter what. And how many people that used to pick on you got their own shows, right? So
Well, I want everybody to be successful, and I'm lucky, of course. But I wasn't, I mean, I was upset because they promised me that she wasn't going to do that, and then and whether it was contrived or not, I have no idea. It happened, and that's why I was pissed, because I was like, told them, please, is this gonna happen? Somebody said, I got wind of it and I was mad. And I said, I'm not gonna go out there and I'm not gonna go on that stage if she's gonna try to do that. And they're like, no, 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 she's not gonna do that. And sure enough,
did any part
but
of you?
I got a little like sassy, but I was just like,
Well, you're sticking up for yourself,
they knew how to push my buttons. They knew how to
Yeah,
push my buttons, and she knew how to push my buttons, and I'm not quick to, I get really, I get easily triggered.
sure.
And that's my fault. That's my thing that I have to work on. And I have to learn how to just, not be so, volatile sometimes.
Right. Did any
You
part
know,
of you feel that you were kind of set up in a way? Like, because you said
oh,
that there was talk about it, you know?
yes and no, yes and no. Of course not. Of course, yes. But also, like I just said, I could easily keep my composure. And that's something that, when I'm, now that even now I have to really get it. It's muscle memory. I have to, you know, with all my might, get that out of my system. When I
Sure.
was younger, of course, I'm, especially being, drunk and, all that kind of stuff. And that's why sobriety is obviously a good choice.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's in your, when you're so like fight or flight in your body, when you're constantly on the defense, and you're constantly, feeling like, you know, everyone is always against you. And my natural instinct is to always be like, on the guard.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure. I mean, especially like in these filming situations, like you kind of have to be like when you're surrounded by all these people, the other cast members, and everyone's kind of out for themselves, kind of a thing. Um, but speaking of fighting and cast members, Daisy of Love, a bunch of rowdy boys slammed into a house competing for you. I mean, how much input did you have in the setup or the challenges or anything? Like, or was all this stuff just kind of like thrown at you?
Well, I remember, when it was first in the talks of things, I was so excited. I had a lot of the producers were like, what do you like? What's your favorite kind of this? What's your favorite kind of that? And it was really special. And they so a lot of it was geared towards my tastes of men at that time, and my special, like, interests of things, and what was all about me at that in those moments in that time period. And so they were they did everything according to my liking in those time periods, and it was spot on. And um it was fabulous. They couldn't have got me more correct in that time period. um then I mean, it was beautiful. It was so lovely. They were so, they knew exactly. I mean, it was so cute.
Yeah,
You
that's
know,
so
that was
cool.
it was, who I was in that time period.
Right.
There's a part of me that's still like that, of course, but I've grown from that situation. And my taste in men, my taste in life in general, because I've grown. I've experienced the world, and it's because of that experience and other things. And I'm so grateful for that. And I'm so thankful for those producers and that show and those guys and everything, because those were lessons and experiences that you know I grew
Right.
and shaped me. And I'm so like stoked on that. That was a blessed part of my life.
Yeah, I mean it's cool to know that they really wanted to get it right, for you,
Yeah.
and it wasn't just done, behind your back. Now, you had mentioned that on Rock of Love, like your phones are taken away, you're very kind of like isolated and all that stuff. Now, as being the star of a show, did those rules change for you at all, or was it still kind of you couldn't have anything like how different were the rules for you?
For me, for them, it was the same. Uh, for there was the same rules that would be applied to us as cast members
Hmm.
for them. And for me, I insisted on the same exact thing because I'm working and I'm trying to create something beautiful, and I want my head into the situation because I'm there to focus on something that's beautiful and that people spent a lot of time, effort, money, and trust and a belief in me and in the product, that they think that like this person, this situation is going to be amazing. And for me to not take it seriously or take it as wonderful as they did, then it would be a travesty. So of
Right.
course I'm there to be 100% like they are,
That's
because
awesome. Yeah, that's
yeah.
interesting. So now it's the first night, like how kind of similar does the way that the first episode like views, like when you watch it and it seems like the guys see you when you first come out from the on stage and sing a song and stuff. I mean, was that really the first time that you saw and like met those guys, or I mean, like how much of that kind of setup was set up and what was real?
Yeah, that was that was the very first time I ever saw them, and I really didn't even really see them. Like when I was doing that situation, I was like trying to perform. That was actually, I think, the first time I performed like that moment. That was the first moment I performed that entire situation.
Oh, wow.
And also, so I'm trying to perform the thing, and then kind of like checking out the people at the
Right.
same time, kind of going like, okay, like what's going on at the same time? Like this is like, so I was kind of like, but trying to focus on like what I was doing as well, because I never performed that entire thing. I just performed it like that day or that night,
Wow.
and then like, but also trying to like get like a scoop on like what's going on.
That's so great. Yeah, I mean, when like after you're done with the song and now you're looking at these guys and all that, I mean, is it intimidating at all seeing like a room full of just dudes that are there like all to focus their attention on you? I mean, or is it exciting? Is it intimidating? What's kind of going through your head?
Yeah, it was intimidating. I was like embarrassed. I was like super shy. I was like, oh my God, this is embarrassing. I was actually really embarrassed to do all of that. I was like, I feel like super like lame and like embarrassed and like stupid. I was like, this is super embarrassing right now.
Oh my
And
god.
sexy, because like the last thing I actually felt was sexy. I was like, I'm so lame. Like embarrassing as hell, you
That's
know.
so
Like I'm like
funny.
the worst at this because I don't know what I'm doing. I can't see myself because like I didn't really. I think I learned it like that day. So I was just like, this is stupid.
Oh my god.
Like these dudes are probably like, yay.
Well, yeah, they seemed quite excited. Now, but when you're going through and you're doing the nicknames, that's like one of the best parts of the whole season is that scene. And the nicknames are always, such an iconic piece of all of those VH1 shows from back then. Like Flavor of Love, Rock of Love, all of them had that kind of thing going, and the nicknames are so iconic. I mean, was that really just like on the fly like that? Did you have like were you thinking about it before? Did you see pictures of these guys at all?
No, I saw no pictures of them. I met them that moment. That was the first time I ever laid eyes on any of them. That was just a shock. If they never saw me, that moment, they saw me as for the first time as I saw them for the first time. I was literally like, there they are. Like, there's my dudes, here they are. And here I am, everybody. Hope you're not disappointed. Like, hello. I hope you're, because I really felt like they were like disappointed. They were like, oh, that's her. Like, yeah, you
Really?
know. Yeah, I really did. I felt like I disappointed them. I was
Oh,
so scared. I was just like, like yay. Um, and
well, I
so
mean, they you could have been equally disappointed, and so, I mean, there was triplets there. Like, I
I
went to
I was
school with those
I was
guys.
intimidated by the triplets. Like I thought they were like so. I was like those dudes are too cool for me. Um, I was like, dude, the triplets. I was like, oh, those. Well, I mean, they didn't open their mouth and talk yet, So I was
Right.
like, I just saw them and saw that there's three of them, and I was like, oh, those are dudes are like rock stars and a half, rock stars and a triplet or whatever.
Right,
So
yeah.
I didn't know anything about them, so I was just like, all I saw was they were triplets, and I was like, oh, those dudes are like,
That's
rock
great.
stars,
Yeah,
you know.
I went to college like up the street, and they were there. It was a community college, and they went there too. And
No
I
way.
and they were like that 24/7. Yeah, I mean, like they'd
Wow.
be in class, like three of them. They'd all take the same classes. They'd all walk together, and everyone was just like, "What the fuck?" Like, because it was like that all the time for those
Oh,
guys.
I'm proud of them. They went to college. What did they study?
I have no idea. I remember there was an article written about them in the school magazine because they were in a Lady Gaga video. And like it was like you might have seen these guys around campus, and it's like, yeah, no shit. Like they're like
Oh, I'm so proud of them. That's good. See, they're smart. See, that's why I was intimidated by them because they're like geniuses.
yeah, I've
Mhm.
actually followed up on quite a few of the contestants from your show, and some of them, like for instance, Flipper is still doing the same exact shit that you'd think he is. He's still flipping off stuff, doing crazy stunts. But then you have like 12 pack, who's on a new show on Netflix right now. You
Well, yeah,
know,
yeah. Well, I mean, if you're good at something, that's what you're good at, and you should keep. Well, I mean, I shouldn't say you should do something, but then you usually you keep going with that, and that's why you're, sort of doing that, and that's good. That's you stick to one thing, and you get and you're that's probably why maybe they wanted to call him Flipper. I didn't always come up with I came up with like a couple names, but the producers were like, "This is what we're gonna call this dude," and they wanted to do that for a reason because they knew more about that person than I did.
interesting, interesting.
So
Now,
so
can
I didn't.
I? This is a big deal. This is kind of an embarrassing fan thing here, but if you were looking out there and you saw me, what would my nickname be on Daisy of Love?
Beaver.
Hell yeah. That was quick. You already had that.
Yeah, you look like a beaver because you're like a 'cause you look like you could hold hands and you wouldn't float away, but you have a big beaver musty and like, you have beaver hair.
That's hilarious. I love that. That's awesome. Now, speaking of animals, yeah, Weasel from your show, who famously got his face drawn on and everything the first night and all that stuff. Dude, just like a super successful family man now. I mean, you never know how these people
I
end
know,
up.
I'm like, damn, I could have like had all these men. Like, yeah, no, they're amazing, They're
Are there any of them that you like maybe have like the one that got away kind of a feeling at all? Like, do any of those feelings still kind of exist, or were they ever really there?
um God, maybe like 12 pack. I was like, man, I'm really successful, you know? I'm glad everyone is doing really good. I'm proud of them. There's a professor, he's doing good. I'm very happy for each individual. I hope that everyone is healthy and thriving and nobody is under succeeding in any way in their lives. I
Yeah,
wish them all the best. I hope that none of them are hurting in any way. I hope that they're and I hope they continue to succeed with whatever their talent was or whatever that their dream or goal was in life because I think that's important. And they were picked on the show for a reason. I hope, and not to be embarrassed, not to be laughed at or anything. Whatever their thing was, that was what made them stand out, and that's what made them who they were. And so
right.
that's important. Even Flipper, because obviously he that was something that is his talent, and
Yeah,
so he takes that and he ran with it, and that's a beautiful thing. I can't do that. I can't do a bunch of physical things like that. That's just something that he's worked at his life, and he's still doing that, and that's a great thing. So that's a wonderful aspect, and it takes a lot of courage and training, and it's dangerous. You could hurt yourself.
Sure.
So different gifts and talents that God's given each and every individual, and I love those things, and that's great. And I wish them all the best.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many different kinds of guys. I mean, obviously tensions ran high and things like that at certain times. Now, there was one challenge in particular that I found kind of odd because it was literally just, hey, you guys are going to fight each other. Like, and I thought that was kind of crazy. You know what I mean? Like, was there one challenge in particular that you like really liked or that you really didn't like? I mean, like, what was your kind of feelings about the things that the guys had to go through?
I feel like that one challenge where they had to cook like the souffle things.
Oh,
That was kind of dumb. I mean, it wasn't dumb, but like I just wasn't feeling that one.
yeah, and you
I
had to
was
eat the stuff.
Yeah, that one was a weird day. That was like a and I don't know, I don't really remember a lot. I haven't really thought about that in a while.
There was like the one where the guys had to carry the mannequin that was supposed to be you while they're getting shot at with paintballs. There's a cage fighting one.
Yeah, I don't remember that. I mean, I think that was done because, there was Cage and he had a talent and it showcased their talents. And I think that's important because, the thing that comes out of their lives is that whether they, got my love or attention or not, they also, you know, are there for a reason for their own, they really are there for their own unique individual skills in life.
Right.
And
Now, yeah, go ahead.
yeah, and so if that's a hard thing that somebody does, and if that's their thing that they do, I want them to be, I know it's, I don't condone violence, but if that's something that they fought for their whole life and did, if that's what makes them successful, then please, by all means, showcase that for yourself because I want that.
Yeah.
Unlike where on Rock of Love, it was really scary. It's like, don't show your talent because if you do, I swear to God, you're good. But like, because I can't, I'm not necessarily like the greatest thing ever, so that's, I can't give anything special for somebody. Just to be on my show for me and just to have a show is magical for me. you
Sure.
know
Yeah.
I'm a wreck, so like you're not going to get anything special there really. You're going to get a big train wreck for me, but like, that's like my thank you for like, hey, thank you for making my dreams come true, to be honest.
Yeah.
So
Now,
anything I can do to say thank you for you, is really what mattered to me.
yeah. Yeah. And so, during some of the like more difficult times or more emotional times in that show, Ricky Rackman was kind of set up to be like your confidant and things like that. Like, how much of that like was true? Was he really kind of like there for you and like so like supportive like that, or was that kind of just like staged like talks that you guys would have?
No, he was really there. I think Ricky Rackman is a very caring person. He's very empathic, he's a very sensitive guy. He's really cool. He's really he's a good guy. He's supportive of people who are sober. He's been in the industry for a really long time. Um, but he's Ricky Rackman, and if I wish I could have been, we stayed in contact for a while, but
Mhm.
not we didn't become like super close friends, but we were much more, closer than like me or Brett Michaels or something. So
Sure. Sure.
I did go to his house like and do like a photo shoot, and we hung out a couple times. He visited me in rehab when he
Oh,
was with his
wow.
wife Gail still. He came and visited me, and he was really supportive of that, which was amazing. That was a huge thing that he did. He's always been concerned about me in those aspects. He's reached out a couple times to make sure I was okay. We have mutual friends, so we have a mutual bond because of the fact that we come from a situation where we are in a fellowship of sobriety
Sure.
and musical things where he is in the musical scene and I happen to be an aspiring musician, so those things bond us in some ways and we have mutual people and in those ranks.
Right.
He's a very good guy. He's a very compassionate person, but we're not like, we also our camaraderie lies in the fact that we do entertainment and we worked for the same company, but we're not like best friends in real life, but
Right.
we
Right.
we don't like dislike each other or something. He was very courteous to me and let me come to his house and use his house for a photo shoot, and he's a very good guy.
Good. Yeah. No, that's nice to hear. Because yeah, I was like, it seems like he's really kind of trying to back her up, like in a lot of these episodes, because it gets pretty fucking crazy in that house. I mean, the guys are like they end up fighting. There's breaking shit. Like at
Yeah.
certain instances, I'm not sure how often that happened and if it was just all cut together to make it seem like it was crazy. But I mean, like, how often was shit like popping off like that?
Well, I really don't know like what was going on like in down there because I was not like in that. I wasn't there because that was what was going on when they were filming the guys.
Sure.
So, but you'd have to ask Ricky or who or them. I don't
Yeah.
know.
Sure.
So that's their thing. But I would imagine that it was, that was, probably, it wasn't really. It was. I feel like my show is kind of boring, to be honest with you.
No way. No way. It's my favorite one. It's the best. I
Oh,
tell people
really?
all the oh my god, yeah, I tell people all the time. Like my favorite thing is when someone comes over and I'm like, "Oh, have you like we're talking about different things from back in the day." I'm like, "You ever see Daisy of Love?" And they say no, and I get to be the first one to show them. It's the best feeling in the world. It's so much
I'm
fun.
sorry about that for them. But no, like on all honesty, though, like Ricky Rackman really was like a like a big brother to me, like trying to tell me like, how to like about men. He's just like, of course he called me Daisy, but he's like, be like, Daisy, like you don't, you know, know, like he just really is just like, him and his wife Gail, they were at that time, just sort of just like, you know, God, what is your problem with men? I'm like, I know, I did because that's part of like my addiction as well. There's such a thing as called like love addiction, and
Yeah.
just having, and so he really could recognize that for real, especially when it came to Josh, who is London, and that was
Yeah.
he really was like pissed off about that.
Yeah, because he left and then
He
and then
was
he
like
came
really
back.
upset about that. He was just like, dude, and I was just like, he could really recognize the fact that, and he could see those signs because he was like, we're very similar in those sort of like areas, because
Right.
of, and so that he really could just be, he was just like he's just like, are you serious?
How did that come
Like
about?
what?
Bringing him back. Was that your decision? Was it his? Like, how did that happen for him to come
No,
back like that?
nobody really liked that at all. Nobody. Everybody was upset about that.
But was it just
Everybody.
strictly your choice? I mean, like, how did he end up actually coming back with all that pushback?
I really wanted that to happen. I was really, really into him. And apparently, Josh London, he wanted that to happen too. And nobody at all liked that idea. Not Ricky Rackman, not any of the other
Oh,
guys,
I'm sure the guys are
not
furious.
producers, nobody. And
Wow.
I was just like, please just give him a chance. I think he can come back. He really likes me. And that's what he claimed to want, and that's what he claimed to wanted to
So he
happen.
he won for real then. You know what I mean? Like that wasn't like
Yeah, that was his that's what he at that time claimed that that's what he wanted, and I truly and deep in my heart felt that that's what he wanted at that time.
right. Did now
That's what
did
I
you
had
guys
hoped for. In my head, I imagined this like really. I had all these like things that I was like, oh, this is gonna be so amazing. Like the perfect
rock and roll
love
wedding?
love
Yeah.
story. Like this is so great. And the producers were just like, they were like, I don't really think so. Just let that guy go. He already, Mr. Mark Cronin and everyone, they were like, dude, that guy wanted to be out the first day. Let that dude go.
God.
Why? Why do you like that guy? And I was like, I'm in love with him. We don't really think so. Like Ricky Raccoon was just like, God, what is your problem?
Wow, that's so
You
funny. I
know,
mean, you
everybody was just like, "Ew, no,
it's
why?
Daisy of
I
love.
don't
It's
want
no
to
one
be
else
there."
of love, you know. It's
Yeah, but
your
I
call.
was just like, "Don't you want me to find love?" They're
Yeah.
like, "Yeah, but that guy doesn't like you." And I was
Oh
just
my
like,
God.
I was like, "He's in love with me." He said he wanted to come back. I know he does.
Oh my
He
God.
didn't know that it was real, and they were just like, okay. They're like,
Wow.
well, I believe I can say so, but
You know another thing, where did the name Daisy come from?
for me, oh, that was like a long time ago. Like when it started in Sarah from Shock in like 2000 and like one, and I really can't explain it. Just you know, it came to me in the bathroom, and it was sort of just like this. It started out as Daisy Grave in the band that I was in, Sarah from Shock. So I started out as Daisy Grave in this band as a bass player, and I wanted it to be. It was almost like a contrast of like, something beautiful, because it was really gothic, and it started something beautiful, but yet also more macabre because of like daisies growing like on a grave,
Okay. Yeah, yeah.
and I thought of it like when I was in the bathroom, where I always think of all the great things.
I mean, that's what happens, That's where I
Yeah,
thought of
that's
this.
where I always got my thoughts. I was always just like, because I didn't want, I never really liked my name Vanessa.
Mhm.
I didn't like my name Vanessa. I didn't like my last name. It was never like, something that like, and once changed, started wanting to call myself something different, like, once I decided like me and like the ex Charles, from Sarah from Shock, Charles Edward, it was like the second I just decided that, I felt like boom,
It's
the
on.
the pseudo, like the alter, not like the alter ego, but the person finally, like I was resurrected or something,
Yeah, yeah. I
And
mean, it's like that aha moment, it
yeah,
all came together.
finally this like confidence, because I was really really shy. Even when Charles like met me, I even though I looked crazy and like, he was like, "Oh, I thought you were a bitch when I first met you." Because I had like blue hair and like dreadlocks and like tons of piercings, like razor blades in my hair,
Oh, wow.
and I would wear like all kinds and like really pale skin. And I was with, I'd always, and I would, I smoked, and I was very very quiet, and just he's like, "Oh, I thought you were like the ice princess," is what he would call me. And he'd see me with like my group of friends, because I would come into this cafe that he worked at, and I had just broken up with this my first like common law boyfriend, and I was really depressed. But I would come in, and he was a waiter at this place, and I was really depressed. I was so suicidal, like I was so depressed. And but then I saw him, and I was just like, I was really scared of him, because he was older than me. But I was like, oh my god, it's that guy from that band.
Oh, yeah.
And like, but I was so shy. And I remember this one time we came in like with like my group of friends, and we were all at the table. We were like dirt poor. Like, we were like poorer than I am now, but and we all like, we could, afford like, whatever. And I ordered a glass of water, I remember, and he hated waiting tables. He effing hated it. So he was just like, and he was like totally just like, I don't know, so we're, because we were all snobby, like goth kids, whatever. And he came, and we all were ordering, because nobody would tip him, so he'd be like,
Yeah.
I ordered this water, and everyone got their stuff except for me. And I remember, and I was like, excuse me, I ordered like a water like a million years ago. And he finally comes over, and he like slams the water like right down in front of me, and I was just like, and everyone was just like, whoa. I was like, what the hell? Like, it was really weird. We
But it
were
was
all
the
like,
start of something.
yeah, apparently. I was like, whoa, attitude, like, and then like, yeah, then everyone's kind of just like, what was that about?
Oh my
we're like,
God.
yeah. And so, anyways, though, like, he thought I was a bitch and like all this stuff, but really, I was really, really shy, so shy. I was mortified. So he actually helped build my confidence. And what, but once I got, got this name and this thing, and I was so excited to be in his band, I got confidence. And then Daisy sort of built me confidence as a performer.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I
And
can see
I felt,
that for sure. I
yeah, I
mean,
felt
it's
confident, but it wasn't a confident in like a like oh, it was confident in like a like I'm finally the thing that I want to be in life, you
right.
know, a person who's can hide behind the hurt of who Vanessa is,
Yeah.
rather than like,
I kind of want to talk about that just a little bit. Like after Daisy of Love, ends. I mean, and time goes on. I mean, how difficult kind of was that transition, like going from like Daisy of Love, rock stars, like all that stuff, and then like becoming Vanessa again. I mean, is that kind of a tough come down? I mean, are you, was it nice to kind of find yourself again?
yeah, well, for a while there, it's always been a battle. It's almost like sometimes it can be like almost like this disassociation. But for a long time, I really had been struggling with it because it was like, who am I again? You know,
Right. Yeah.
am I am I Daisy or am I Vanessa?
Right.
And am I this stupid blonde or am I this intellectual, dark sort of person who's creative? And then I was like, you know what? I want to be that person again.
Yeah.
How do I separate myself from this, or am I even separated from this? Was I acting or was that really me?
Right. It's very
And
complex. The
yeah,
kind of thing that happens with that, and kind of rediscovering yourself, and kind of, because again, like you are forever, you have a television show as Daisy, and it's this person that you're really not anymore, but you are. You know what I mean? That's it's very complex.
yeah. And then it's like, well, then everyone's like, oh my God, your name's not really Daisy. And I'm just like, I'm like, oh, sorry. I'm like, it's not, but it is because I came, that is me. It's a version of me, but it's a version of me that's amplified. It's a persona, yes. It is. But it's also, and then I'm like, then they're like, okay, then don't be Daisy. And I'm like,
Yeah.
okay. I'm like, all right, good point. How do I not be Daisy? You know,
Right.
when do
Right.
I not be Daisy? That's a good point. You
Yeah,
know,
it is interesting. But I'm glad that I'm talking to Vanessa, today, and I'm glad that we're talking about date. I mean, that I totally understand this like kind of separation, but it is all in one kind of thing. So now, those shows all ended. There were so many of them, and they were coming out so much, and then a terrible thing happened, and that was kind of, what ended them all, really. And it was really an end of an era. I mean, do you watch like any new reality shows? Like, were there any after that you kind of got into and kind of seeing the change? Because that was a very specific era of reality television compared to what we have now.
yeah. Well, I was actually not really, no, because I really don't watch TV. I haven't watched TV, in over 15 years. I don't even own a TV. I didn't own a TV. I definitely don't own a TV now, but I didn't own a TV because, I was really busy and I try to stay away from, and it's not any offense to anything. I don't watch movies. I got really busy in my life and I just didn't have time for it for one. So finally, at one point when I finally did, my ex at the time, uh, he was just like fascinated with the fact that I didn't ever go to a movie.
Right.
He was like, how long has it been since you've been to a movie? I was like, a really long time. He was
Yeah.
just like, really? I'm gonna take you. I was like, so it was kind of funny. It was funny. Um, but recently I've been watching with some I was into sober living, with some girls, and it was cool. We'd watch some we were watching these prison like reality shows. Those were kind of interesting.
Yeah, they're
I
crazy.
Yeah, those they were interesting. Um and so those are different kind of things. And I don't know, I don't really know. I don't really recall like a lot of stuff because it's
Right.
it's I can only watch things for so long because I get I have ADHD, so it's hard to like, and plus I gotta like, a lot to do to my for my life. I always feel like this thing, like I don't have the right to do something um until I've done everything that needs to be done. Then I have the right to like go to a movie,
Work first, yeah.
enjoy myself, lay down and rest,
Yes.
take a break. Otherwise, I feel like I'm being lazy or I feel guilty about it.
Do you feel like, I mean, you're like having been on these shows and kind of being in that world, do you think that that kind of affected addiction and things like that? Like, did that make it worse? Do you think you would have been in some of the situations you were in regardless, or do you think being on those shows kind of put you in a fast lane, so to speak, that kind of exacerbated that?
Both. I always I had always dreamed about being this. So and I'm pre-proposed or whatever. Like I have the gene already. My genetics are, you know, it's in my genetics. Every single person in my family is my grandpa's an alcoholic. Everyone in my family smokes pot. My dad was addicted to heroin. My mom did crank before, when she had me.
Wow.
I told my first ex-boyfriend, when I was like 15, that I was gonna have a cocaine problem. All my idols were rock stars. And when I was a little kid, so I glamorized it.
Sure.
So, and that's not to say that's an excuse. It's just that it's ingrained in my soul. But thank God I experienced it. Okay, I experienced it, and I experienced it really pretty quite physically, mentally, visually, every way that you can experience it. And I've had my experience of it enough. Like I've experienced it
Right. Good.
my
Well, I'm
whole
glad.
life,
Yeah.
and I don't want to experience it anymore. Just even thinking about it triggers me right now.
Sure. Yeah. No, I mean,
I
I'm
like
glad that
feel
that.
triggering it, and I don't want to experience it ever again. I see it every day on the streets, and I get freaked out. Just today, I saw some guy who I swear was like in just working for the city smoking meth, and I was just like,
Oh my
what?
God.
And I don't want to. I don't want to experience that. I don't want to
Right.
see it. I don't want to like. And you have to see it sometimes when you're walking around the streets, especially. And I feel sad for those people, but I also it triggers me, and I don't want it to be triggered.
Right. Well, I'm glad you made it through
And
that.
I
You
don't
know,
want it.
it's
And I don't know what my future is going to be like. I hope to God I don't go back to that and get, fall backwards. And I hope that I don't get like really super successful again. God, and I'm, in any way, shape, or form, whatever it is, whatever I'm like a big, huge, successful waitress in the world. I don't know.
right.
Super good, successful clerk at JC Penney's. I don't know. And decide that I'm gonna like, you know, go blow all my money on whatever,
Yeah.
or I fall so hard that like I'm like I hate my life again, and I'm gonna, go out. I don't know, but I hope I don't. You
Right.
know.
Yeah. I mean, we're all rooting for you. You know,
Well,
that's
I root for everybody every day as well who decides not to do that as well. It's really hard, and I'm not perfect. I do not perfect things every day.
right.
So, I can't, I'm not perfect.
Right.
There's still things that I'm still like, don't do that.
Right. Right. Well, nobody's perfect, and so we forgive each other for that. Right. Now, as we kind of come to the conclusion here, I mean, what's if you had to tell someone that's about to watch your show for the first time, what would you want to say to them about it? Before they start.
What would I say to them? Well, it's to, that it was, genuine, and that's all I can say about it. It was definitely a legit show, but it was also a show. So there's aspects of it and it was 15 years ago.
Right.
No, was it? Yeah, it was 15 years ago. It was a
2009.
show.
Yeah.
For the show, it was genuine, but a lot has changed. But also, God, it was cringy.
It's amazing. Everyone loves it. And I'm telling you, on social media,
And thank you for watching it. If you decide that, thank you.
yeah,
That's really nice of you.
I
I
mean,
really appreciate that.
all of
And
those
sorry, I'm
shows
so
are
sorry.
all don't be sorry. No, it's amazing. All of those shows are coming back so hard on social media because they're popping up on all the streaming services. So everyone, like, there's like a whole generation rediscovering this. I had mentioned that last time we talked. So I mean, it's living on, and I mean, you're kind of becoming somewhat of of an icon all over again. You know, it's like, but like
Well,
to like kids that are like,
thank you for watching that, and I appreciate you. And I don't receive any royalties from any of that, so I just thank you for so somebody, I guess, because like the producers and everyone are just like, we still didn't get the money back from the show that we had to do. So
yeah,
like,
they all the alcohol that was
they're
bought
paying
for that
it.
show. Yeah,
But I don't do but for what, whatever, that's just the way that it is, and that's just the price you pay. So I
right.
don't know. Thank you so much. I
Well,
appreciate it.
Vanessa, thank you so much for coming on the show. This has been great,
Thank
super
you.
enlightening. It's so cool to hear these stories, and I'm so glad that you're doing all right now, you know, and you've made it over the hill, like the hurdle, you know, and got through some pretty
I'm
tough stuff.
definitely over the hill.
Oh, no, no, no. That's not what I meant. But you know what I mean. But you do know what I mean. But yeah, thank you again. It's been amazing. You know, yes, I will stay in this house and be your rock star. You know, I will give you the backstage pass, all that stuff. I love it. Thank you so much again.
Thank you so much, Ryan. I really appreciate you so much. Thank you.
No problem. Well, I'll stay in touch, but we'll talk soon. All right.
Yes, thank you so much. Have a good day.
You too.
He loves me. He loves me not. He loves me. He loves me not. My name is Daisy De LaHoya. I dated Brett Michaels on Rock of Love 2.
You're sexy, you sing, you know music, you play bass, you're tough, you're cool. It's a win-win. Win-win-win-win.
It sucks because I love him. I'm in love with him. I tried the best that I could. I just want to curl up in a ball and eat a lot of ice cream.
Daisy is so beautiful. She's like 5 feet tall, big fake boobs, blonde hair, big lips. She's my perfect girl.
Come on, man.
Hello, boys.
We are rock and roll stars back in Sweden. Our band is called Snake of Eden. We're partyers. Like, we like to drink and always getting ridiculous and crazy.
I saw the hairband boys stealing all of our food. Those bastards probably don't have food back in Sweden, I guess. Daisy looks absolutely jaw-dropping, man. I was pitching a tent, I'm not gonna lie.